Now, if you're a woman who's been in a relationship and have asked, am I just too much? Or if you've wondered, why do you keep attracting the same toxic guy over and over again, this video is going to show you what over 80% of women, according to a recent survey, have in common, and the real reason why this keeps happening. It may not be exactly what you think. And I'll also show you the assessment that you can take yourself to see if this matches you. Now, if we've not been properly introduced, my name is Rico Armstrong. I am the author of the book, The Power of Pact in Attracting Authentic Relationships, and I coach people to break toxic relationship patterns so that you don't have to waste time on the wrong relationships, but instead spend time on the relationships that serve you the best. And what I'm about to share with you comes from working with women who have all asked me at least the same question of, why do I keep attracting the same kind of person? And again, the answer might surprise you. But before we start with the first trait, you might be thinking, Rico, you're a man. What do you possibly know about women and what they go through in relationships? And the thing is I've been on the other side of these toxic patterns. I've seen how good women get caught in these toxic relationship cycles. And more importantly, I've studied the psychology behind why these patterns develop. Sometimes it takes an outside perspective to see the patterns that you might be too close to the situation to recognize. So let me share with you what I've discovered through the assessment and working with various women. Let's talk about first the 3 traits that a lot of women, over 80% of women, are expressing in these relationships that might be contributing to these patterns. These traits make you a target for people who are looking to manipulate you. The number 1 trait is if you're an emotional healer. 89% of women say that in this assessment, they put the needs of other people above themselves because they have this quality of being a healer. Trait number 2, 73% of women say they end up apologizing for everything just to keep the peace. This is the trait of avoiding conflict at all costs. Trait number 3, 67% of women admit that they overlook warning signs or the red flags because they want to believe in the best of people's potential. And so if you are hearing this or watching this and you're like, I definitely do at least one of those 3 things in my relationships. Again, you can take the assessment to see if the information here is helpful for you to break these toxic relationship patterns. But first, let me show you how this plays out in actual relationships. Let's say you meet somebody new and they seem amazing, they're charming, they're attentive, maybe even too good to be true, honestly. But you start dating them because it's awesome. And then suddenly, you're the one that's apologizing for the fights that you get into, and they never do. You're the one that feels like you're walking on eggshells because you don't know how to speak to this person without them reacting a certain way. And you end up making excuses for their behavior that truly crosses boundaries for you. And then when the relationship ends, it usually ends badly, and you're saying, what's wrong with me? Or why do I keep attracting this person? Am I too much? Am I asking too much? And here's what I've discovered is that you're not attracting toxic people because you're too much. It's just that the good qualities that you have, unfortunately, are a very strong magnet for people looking to abuse or manipulate. They're very attractive to people with narcissistic tendencies. And we just have to be able to spot who those people are sooner rather than later without losing yourself. So let's get into the 3 traits and why this is the case. Trait number 1, again, you are the healer. 89% of women say they put other people's needs first in their relationship. Sounds familiar? That's according to this assessment that was all women. So when you see the potential in people and then they tell you about their childhood trauma, they'll tell you about their past relationship that was toxic for them. And you might think, well, I can be the supportive person. I can be the person that they need. Here's the thing. People with high emotional intelligence and people who are emotionally healthy do not need you to fix them. They are already on the healing journey and they are taking the responsibility for themselves to heal and not making it your burden. If that is not what they're doing, they can sense that person is a toxic individual who can sense your energy and know that you're going to excuse their bad behavior because you understand their trauma. Trait number 2, if you're the type of person that avoids conflicts at all costs, you like to keep the peace in relationship. And again, 73% of women who took this assessment in this survey said they end up apologizing for everything to keep the peace. So when your partner dismisses your feelings, or they gaslight you, or they cross your boundaries, you don't tend to fight back. You explain, you might justify, but in the end, you apologize. And again, that's not necessarily a terrible thing, but to somebody who's operating from an unhealthy emotional place, like your partner may be, what you're doing doesn't look like kindness. It looks like an opportunity to exploit, so they get what they want. Trait number 3, you ignore red flags because you want to see the good in people. Again, 67% of the women in this assessment said that they ignore red flags because they want to see the good in people. And so when the other person, again, crosses their boundaries, or if they're rude to servers, they have some behavior that you do not approve of, maybe they love bomb you and then suddenly go cold, you tell yourself there must be a reason. You give them the benefit of the doubt. But again, healthy people, especially emotionally healthy people, don't send mixed signals. Healthy people emotionally, if they do something that is not of good behavior, they own up to it quickly, and they quickly try to make sure to not repeat that behavior. Emotionally healthy people are consistent. But people who are not emotionally healthy, or they're operating from some sort of toxic relationship pattern, will train you to accept their wild and erratic behavior. So here's the real problem, that before you think I'm blaming you, I'm not blaming you. And hopefully you're not blaming yourself. If you're hearing like, that's definitely me, this is not to blame you, because the reality is seeing the best in other people is a good quality. Being an emotional healer of sorts, to be the type of person to support somebody's healing journey, that's not a bad quality. These are good traits. These are good qualities, and it is a sign of emotional intelligence, your empathy. It's part of the strength of character of who you are. So the problem isn't that you have these qualities. The problem is that nobody has taught you, or I, in generally speaking, on how to use these good qualities without losing yourself. How do we use these good qualities without being manipulated and taken advantage of? How do we use these good qualities towards somebody who truly appreciates it versus who's only trying to get what they want? When we do use these qualities in a good, healthy way with the right person, you're no longer a doormat. You're an amplifier in a relationship that really flourishes. But can I share something with you that really broke my heart in the assessment? And this is something that makes it difficult to navigate through these toxic relationship patterns, especially when you're in it. 78% of the women said that they handle everything in that relationship alone when it comes to support. In fact, of the women, they said that they rarely or never have consistent validation from friends. And I gotta say, as a man, as a guy, that was really surprising, because as guys, we picture women always kind of getting together and venting and communicating their feelings and their situations in life. But to have the vast majority of women feel like they're handling things alone, or feeling like their friends are not consistently validating their situation, that's heartbreaking, because then you're out here trying to heal everybody while dealing with your own relationship trauma by yourself. And it's no wonder why you are exhausted. It's no wonder why you keep falling into the same patterns. So this is why the assessment exists. And this is an assessment that I give to everybody that I work with. You can take it for free. And if you hear yourself like, yeah, some of these things sound like me, take the assessment. It's free. You can get immediate feedback on who you are in these relationships, and more importantly, action steps to do something about it. And here's the beautiful truth. You don't need to become cold or guarded to stop attracting toxic people. And you don't need to change who you are. I hope you don't. The real key to be able to exhibit these beautiful traits that you have without losing yourself is one thing. It is the ability to set boundaries that actually stick. And if you can set those boundaries before you get upset of somebody crossing them, you'll do better. Because here's what ends up happening is you get into these relationships, you give so much in the relationship, you really believe in it, and then it falls apart. That is traumatizing. So in the next relationship, you might come up with some barriers and some walls and say, I will never let somebody take advantage of me the same way. But oftentimes we don't know if people are crossing our boundaries until we are upset about it. But if you could instead set the boundaries in a non-emotional state before the next relationship or before the next conversation, here's what's going to happen. You're with your person that you're dating. You can see them do something or say something that crosses your boundary from a mile away. And now you can say, this doesn't necessarily make that person a bad person. It just means that they're not my person. When you set boundaries that actually stick, you can recognize red flags early on, and you can attract the kind of people that will support and validate your experiences. And when this happens, you now begin to trust yourself and your instincts better instead of second guessing yourself. You stop taking responsibility for other people's emotions, which is amazing. In fact, the women who score the highest on emotional health, because they set the boundaries, they are able to keep the beautiful qualities of empathy, of caring, of seeing people's potential without being jaded because of a past experience. Because they now feel so confident in the skills they've learned to protect their energy while using their gifts. It's like anybody with a superpower. You don't have to use it for everybody. You can use it when and to whom you choose. And you have the boundaries set up to know exactly who and when to do this with. So if, again, you heard parts of yourself in this video where you're like, that's definitely me, and you're ready to break those toxic relationship cycles, take the free assessment. The link is below. Again, it's completely free. It takes about 2 minutes and you'll get your results immediately. You'll get a personalized breakdown of your specific relationship patterns. You will get a red flag detector so you can more easily spot red flags in other people's, and then things just get a little bit better. And again, if this video resonated with you, hit that like button, subscribe for more content, and I look forward to seeing you next time.